Hey guys, how's it going? This is going to be part 2 of the newest chapter of the Versus Manga, chapter 19.2. Starting with the beginning of the chapter, we got to see a difference in power scale between the Madaran and the Demon Lord Jachi. So if you guys remember, the Madaran had created essentially a black hole to suck Jachi in so he can attack him. However, in this newest chapter, Jachi did a similar attack. However, instead of having to create a black hole, all Jachi had to do was deeply inhale. And that created this powerful pull that sucked the Madaran right in, so Jachi can attack him. So I thought that that was really important for us to, again, understand the difference in power between Jachi, who is now ready to fight, and this Madaran, who has evolved to try to overcome Jachi and is soon learning that it's all for nothing. The Madaran tried to book it and get away from Jachi because he knew he was gonna die. Jachi hits the Madaran for the first time after he takes off his shoulder casing that basically ate away at his energy, and now his, I don't want to say full power, but more of his energy is released now. So the Madaran feels this, and immediately the Madaran is thinking danger. That happens even when you're not like a robot, right? Like when you're in danger, your brain will let you know, this is not good, this is bad. And that's what the Madaran did. And as soon as the Madaran realized this, the Madaran literally exploded out of that area and tried to flee from Jachi, which I thought was really interesting because at first the Madaran wanted all the smoke, but as soon as Jachi had hit him for the first time after he took off his armor, the Madaran wanted nothing else to do with this battle. I thought it was really cool how the Madaran turned into like a bullet to get away. If you pay attention, it's like so that it can accelerate at a super fast rate. It turned itself into what appeared to be almost like a bullet or like a rocket, and he was just out of there, man. However, of course, just how we all know, Jachi was able to essentially explode away from the landscape that they were at, and he caught right up to the Madaran. And of course, Jachi says, "Where are you going? The fight has just begun." And the Madaran is freaking out at this point because not only does he know now that he's fucked as far as fighting Jachi goes, but now he knows he can't even get away from Jachi because Jachi is just too fast. I would be scared for sure. So we kind of get a look at the mothership, I want to say it was, of the Madarans. When I look at the mothership and I see all these beings and all these forms and stuff, it just makes me think to myself, I really wonder what the true forms of the Madarans are, because I'm getting these hints that maybe the bodies that we're seeing them in on Earth aren't their real bodies, like maybe there's something else going on. But then we see all these random forms or organisms on the mothership, and I really don't know what to make of those either. So it's like, what are the Madarans exactly? What is their true form? What are their actual abilities? Are these Madarans that we're seeing on Earth fighting the demons and everything else that are collecting data? Are these machines or suits that the Madarans kind of control remotely? Or maybe they transfer their conscious into them? I'm really curious what exactly is going on with these Madarans. The Madarans acknowledge, again, how strong the kaijus are, specifically Daku Kuzan, because I think this is the only one that they've ran into so far, which is interesting because if the Madarans are kind of all over the world collecting all this data, and these kaiju are so monstrous, so gigantic, so powerful, how have they not spotted anymore? You know, when they're like, if we want to take over Earth, we are going to have to take down this creature. The Madarans claim that the parasite cannot enter their body. I thought that that was very, very interesting, okay? Because this makes me wonder, are they mistaken? Can the parasite really enter their body, but they just think it can't? So is this gonna really screw them later on? Or is this true? And do the Madarans cancel out the parasite? You know, because this would be an enemy that the parasite cannot affect. The Madarans also claim that the Titans have showed resilience. So I looked up the definition of resilience, guys. It basically means the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties, okay? So they're basically just saying that the Titans are very durable and they have the ability to recover quickly, or not get hurt by simple attacks. However, they still say, but we can deal with him. So it's like, even though they're acknowledging that they're durable, they're also saying they're not very strong as well. But that also makes me wonder, do you guys feel that way because you haven't ran into the top tier titans such as Ginbak's sons or Ginbak himself? You know? And then they also say that they are indecisive regarding Gaia's wrath. Okay, now I found that very interesting because Gaia's wrath, I mean, it's essentially just really gigantic natural creatures that you see in every day. You know, birds, snakes, fish, deer, anything you can think of. It's just, it is a monstrous size, but I mean, is it really that difficult? So they're not sure if Gaia's wrath is going to be a threat or not. So this is really interesting to know. We got to keep this in mind because this could be some kind of foreshadowing for the future. And then the Madarans are reporting that the demon army and demon executives are weak and not a threat. So they're currently having this conversation, the Madarans on the mothership, and they're talking about all the enemies, and they come across the demons and they say, you know, they're no threat. We dealt with a little army and some executives that interfered with our investigation. And after a few hits, they became very docile and they're wimps basically. But they're saying all of this while this other Madaran who's trying to escape Jachi is getting torn apart piece by piece. So this is the irony of the conversation that these Madarans are having on the mothership. They're saying that, oh, this isn't a threat, but it really is a threat. So then it makes you wonder, okay, are the parasites really not a threat to you guys, or are you mistaken? Are the Titans really not a threat to you guys, or are you mistaken? You know what I'm saying? So it's really interesting, man. It's a lot of irony and foreshadowing going on, I believe. During the debriefing, the Madaran state that the demons originated from lower life forms or organisms. So I found that really interesting because, like some of you have pointed out, in the first chapter, it was actually stated that the demons had converted a human hero into a demon. Now, these Madarans are saying that somehow they discovered the origins of the demons. And they're saying, oh, well, they originated from a lower life form as well. Is this giving us some relevance and some description into how the demons were first created? And are we going to further elaborate on the demons and how they originated and how they came about? Or is this just something that is going to get brushed over, but not really addressed? The Demon Lord Jachi's hits are explosive. With each blow, Jachi fractures the body of the Madaran. The difference in strength between a demon executive and a demon lord is worlds apart. So we're getting to see when Kiva and the other three demon executives, Shinzo and the other two, when they came up against the Madarans, they were struggling, and the Madarans, they didn't even have to evolve. They didn't have to transform. That's how unready the executives were. However, you got Jachi who comes in here, and this Madaran has hit him with everything he's got, as well as he's transformed. He's hit him with all these other attacks, and Jachi's like, that's pretty good, but let me give it a try now. And he takes off his armor, and now Jachi, with each blow, Jachi is literally shattering the body of this Madaran. This Madaran is toast. Its head matter is being exposed. I don't know what that goo or that light is, but Jachi is tearing this Madaran apart. So again, what this is showing us is the huge difference between the power of a demon executive and a demon lord. It's worlds apart. Jachi has knowingly turned up his strength level to test the durability of the Madaran. Jachi prepares to deliver what he knows to be lethal blows and asks the Madaran to show how he can survive it. So Jachi's tearing this Madaran apart. He's got him crawling away for dear life. And then Jachi, in a curious way, is telling the Madaran now, I want to see what you're capable of surviving. I want to see how durable you are. And he throws this massive one-strike blow that smashes the Madaran into this boulder. Then Jachi sarcastically mocks the weaker Madaran by telling him he will strike him with the same type of punches the Madaran used earlier in the fight. So Jachi's like, hey, those punches you used on me earlier, they went a little something like this, right? And then Jachi just rains these strikes down on this Madaran. And it kind of reminds me of the fight between Deku and Overhaul in My Hero Academia, where Deku had just hit Overhaul with these mirage of punches. And they were so quick and so powerful that it created almost like a after effect, and Overhaul had to like wait for the punches to actually take effect. And then they started blowing him away. And that's what this panel 13 reminds me of. You know, it's just how he illustrated it too. It was very cool. So now the Madaran is shattered to pieces, essentially, right? He's not even whole anymore. And Jachi kind of has this look of disappointment. The Madaran is not as strong as Jachi had hoped he would be, because remember, Jachi is bored. He's looking for a good fight. It's almost like Saitama in One Punch Man. You become so powerful that you just become bored because nothing ever feels like a challenge. Jachi even says, "Is this all you got?" Like, that right there, I'm sure in a fight is like one of the ultimate disrespect phrases. Is this all you got, man? Really? Jachi concludes that this Madaran cannot be the only creature present when his army was destroyed. So he's already concluding, he's already deciphering, this can't be the only thing that destroyed my army and my demon executives. There has to be some other creature that created this large footprint here. So Jachi knows there's stronger creatures still wandering the lands. The idea of a stronger foe excites Jachi, the bored and powerful demon lord. So he gets giddy about this. He's like, oh man, this ain't the one, but there's more out there that I need to find. So Jachi's on a mission at this point. The Madaran that's close to death makes another attempt to fight against the Demon Lord Jachi and transforms into a third form. So the Madaran now has showed us that they have another form that they can transfer into. So this makes you wonder, how many transformations do the Madarans have? You know, again, this makes me wonder what's really going on with these Madarans. And another thing that I found very interesting is, what is that glowing ooze that's like just spilling out of this Madaran now at this point? It's what's lighting up its chest, heart, and stuff, but because Jachi has damaged it so much, it's kind of oozing out of the Madaran now, uncontrollably. So I really wonder what that is, and is that the source of their power? In that image where the Madaran transforms into the third form, the space plate bronze, the image where Jachi is kind of like looking over his shoulder, looking at the Madaran, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it kind of looks a little rushed. Like, Kiyotaro Uzuma is an amazing artist, guys. So when I see images that look, how do I put it? They just look like they have some errors or some flaws in it. It just makes you wonder, is this being rushed? Because of course we have to consider too, this chapter was only 19 pages. Usually when we get a chapter from Kiyotaro Uzuma, the chapter is usually over 30 pages, which kind of makes the 30-day wait kind of worth it, because we know we're going to get a super long chapter. But this one being only 19 pages, and then a few of the images, in particular this one, looks like Jachi was kind of rushed, like the detail wasn't really put in at the end there. It just makes you wonder why. You know, why are you feeling rushed, if that's the case? I don't know. The Titan Chief Ginbak kills the Madaran with one hit. Does this mean that Ginbak is stronger than Jachi? So Ginbak comes in and he one punches this Madaran. Now, Jachi is powerful, but Jachi's having to hit this Madaran with a bunch of blows, and it's not killing the Madaran right away. It's devastating the Madaran, but it's not killing him. Now, is this Jachi kind of holding back and he's just testing the Madaran's durability? Or is Jachi giving it everything he has, and therefore, if Ginbak one punches the Madaran and it kills it, does that mean that Ginbak is stronger than Jachi? Ginbak seems upset over the death of his son Gori. Does this mean Ginbak loves his children? So I kind of got the feeling from Ginbak that, you know, he's just a manly man and it's only the strong survive, but he has come right after the death of his son and he's hunting down his son's killer like he really loved and cared about his son. So what does that mean as far as Ginbak goes? Is he caring and compassionate as a father? Or is this just the principalities of it, right? You killed one of mine, so now I gotta kill you. So I'm very curious about that. Jachi discreetly, in his mind, acknowledges Ginbak's power. Is Jachi nervous? So as we all know, Jachi says in his mind, now this creature is an enemy. So Jachi is acknowledging like, oh, this dude is strong. He's powerful. So does this mean that Jachi have a chance? Or is Jachi about to get his ass handed to him? So that brings up a lot of questions, right? Would it have been better to see a stronger and older brother instead of Ginbak? So one of the things that I think a lot of us are concerned about is we're seeing the end-all be-all for the Titans this early in the manga. We're seeing Ginbak, the leader of the Titans, right? Unless the author one is about to have Ginbak wipe the floor with Jachi and then move on, and then we see him maybe later in the manga. Is this a bad thing that we're seeing Ginbak so soon? Would it have been better, instead of Ginbak coming and asking about the death of Gory, to see an older, maybe stronger brother of Gory come and say, who killed my brother? My father sent me to handle this. Who, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just kind of feel like maybe we're seeing Ginbak a little too soon. However, one is an amazing writer. I always say that. And he has written a good handful of great stories. I have not. So I'm going to leave it up to the professional, and hopefully he has something really good in store for us. And hopefully this doesn't spoil our anticipation for the Titans. And lastly, I just want to talk about this last panel, guys. The last panel for chapter 19.2 is super amazing. I mean, they gave Ginbak the body of a bodybuilder, right? And it looks really cool. One thing I thought was really interesting, his mane has these very unique patterns to it, especially on his arms and his legs. It's a lot of X's and triangles going on there. It looks cool, but it's like, did it really grow in like that? Or you go into the barber and they're like designing it that way? I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting. But yeah, I really like the image too of Jachi from the back. Like, even though Jachi is significantly smaller than Ginbak, because obviously Ginbak is a Titan, he's a gigantic being, Jachi is still pretty big himself. And he still looks very powerful and very strong facing Ginbak. So guys, I'm really curious how this is going to turn out. I love Jachi. I love how powerful he is. I don't mind seeing Jachi struggle a bit and have a challenge, but I really don't want to see Jachi get his ass handed to him. I don't want the hype for Jachi to die down. I still want it to be there, you know? So I'm very curious how one is going to have this go. Maybe he's going to have something interrupt the battle to where we don't even get to see the two of them fight. Maybe that'll be something for later. I don't know, but this is very exciting. I cannot wait to see what happens next. Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. But all right, guys, those are my thoughts for chapter 19.2 of the manga verses. You guys let me know in the comments what you think. What do you guys think of Ginbak's design? Do you think it's cool? Do you think it could be a little better? You know, what do you think about Ginbak's design? Do you think that Ginbak and Jachi are going to fight in the next chapter? Do you think that something is going to interrupt their fight? Do you guys think it would have been better for one of Gory's older, stronger brothers to arrive instead of Ginbak, so that way they could have saved Ginbak for later in the story? I'd love to hear your thoughts, okay? If you like content like this, hit like. If you want to see more like it, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Bye.